And booted. Actually, maybe it's just me. Yeah, the goat.
Yeah, Laura is suited. Let's be honest.
Yeah. And healed, not booted. All right.
Are you a mobster?
Maybe.
She's the boss today. That's for sure.
I am. Dan, you know what?
Mob personality.
Dan, don't mess with me. Watch out. All right, let's dive into some top stories. Shefty starting with the latest on Jaden Daniels. Go ahead, Adam.
Laura, he was a limited participant in practice today. If he plays on Sunday against the Atlanta Falcons, it looks like it might be with a knee brace while he's out there. Clearly not at full strength just yet. The Commanders had said he would be day-to-day going in, but the fact that he's back limited today is an encouraging sign for his availability on Sunday. We'll see how the rest of the practice week unfolds for Jaden Daniels, and it looks like the Commanders also could be without their wide receiver Terry McLaurin, who continues seeking medical information on his quad injury. That sounds like it might be something more or a little bit different than his quad. The team has said quad either way. Didn't practice today. Not a good sign for the start of the week, and his availability for Sunday certainly is in question. Brock Purdy will be limited at practice today, like Jaden Daniels, which I think is a good sign for his availability for Sunday against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Last week, he was limited as well. They ruled him out on Sunday, but Purdy will have a chance, at least, to play this week. And if he can't, then Mac Jones would step in and replace him one more time. Jones day-to-day with a knee injury. Jackson Dart was officially made the Giants starting quarterback, not just for Sunday against the Chargers, but in the words of Brian Daboll, for the rest of the season. Russell Wilson now will be the backup. Dart will be the starter, and we'll see how that impacts the Giants on Sunday. Certainly they're counting on that bringing a spark to their team and to the stadium, but Malik Neighbors didn't practice today as well, so that'll be something else the team has to monitor this week.
Yeah, against that Chargers defense, you'd hope you were full force. Bless you.
Bless you.
You know what?
The boss says bless you.
I'm allergic to all that, too. All right, new on NFL Live, Giants head coach Brian Daboll and quarterback Jackson Dart spoke with the media moments ago.
It's my decision. We're going with Jackson. We're going to get him ready to play this week and the remainder of the season. He's going to do everything he can. Russ will be the backup. I don't think any rookie quarterback is ever just ready to play. You put him in there because you think that he's done enough to show you that he can go out there and compete, and he's done that every step of the way. And that's why I made the decision.
I want to do my best to be a spark. I want to create excitement on the field. I want to be explosive when opportunities are there, and try to just bring a little bit of swagger.
Okay. We'll do that.
Hey, he's answering all the right questions the right way. Our Giants reporter, Jordan Renan, joins us now. Jordan, you were at Giants practice today. You hear Jackson Dart talking about the spark. What were the vibes with his first practice as QB1?
Laura, let me take you behind the scenes at Giants practice, where Coach Brian Daboll, instead of moving station to station and unit to unit like he usually does, was standing right behind quarterback Jackson Dart the entire time we were out there. Then afterwards, General Manager Joe Shane and owner John Maurer were in the vicinity having conversations with Dart as well. This just speaks to the enormity of this decision for this franchise. It's also worth noting that Daboll said, "It's my decision," when turning to Dart. This shows that this regime needs to produce results, and Daboll knows that. That's why after just 3 games, Jackson Dart is already the Giants quarterback in place of Russell Wilson. Back to you, Laura.
Thanks so much to Jordan for that. Phil, you covered Jackson Dart a lot entering the draft this year. How do you see his transition going from college to the pros, knowing what you know about?
Yeah, the first thing is going to be pretty fundamental. Jackson Dart played 98.6% of his snaps from shotgun during his final season at Ole Miss.
The bane of my existence.
I know it, Dan. We were at the Senior Bowl, and he was literally practicing the quarterback-center exchange because he had so infrequently done that in college, right? The Giants kind of planted the seeds about the eventual move to Jackson Dart in the first 3 weeks. After playing just 69% of their snaps out of the gun last year, the Giants are at 84% in the early goings of the season. Part of that might be because they were playing from behind and playing in some high-octane games. That being said, the offense is going to largely play out of the gun for Jackson Dart. What he offers that Russell Wilson does not offer at this stage of his career is legitimate mobility. Now, at Ole Miss, it wasn't a ton of designed runs because they didn't really need him to run all that much when they were throwing for 350 yards a game and putting up 35 points most Saturday afternoons. But there is an element of mobility that we're going to see there from Jackson Dart we have not really seen from Russell Wilson. But I do think some of this is about, like, meeting the player in the middle. Like, I think there have been some concerning things we've seen from the Giants offense for the first 3 weeks with the utilization of Malik Neighbors. Dan, I know you've been hot on this. Man. His average depth of target through 3 weeks is nearly 17 yards, fourth highest in the NFL. Last year it was 50th at like 9.5 yards. I want to see more, like, make life easy on Jackson Dart by giving the best player on your offense by far some opportunities with the football in his hands.
I love that too, especially the part about meeting him in the middle. Because when you have a new quarterback, especially a young one, like Russ is new as well. When Russ came in, it's more of the quarterback's responsibility to get to know the receivers, right? How can we make this operation work the best that it can with my game and how I like to do things and what these receivers are good at? Well, now in this situation, when you have a young quarterback, it works in the opposite. These receivers are going to have to set the offense up to say, okay, well, how quickly does he like to throw the ball? Like, look at this. This is Russell Wilson, and you're used to those moon balls over top. But with Jackson Dart and these deep balls, you're going to see him drive it more on those very similar passes. So you're going to have to know, if I'm running this route, how quickly I need to look, what the positioning I need to have with the defensive back is. And again, the main goal is to give a young quarterback as clear a picture as possible as soon as possible. It's going to be on the receivers as well for that responsibility to make sure as best they can that Jackson Dart isn't considering or having to think about too much.
Yeah, so I would fully expect no huddle from this offense in relation to, like, clearing of the picture, and not just attached to what the receiver does, but also maybe minimizing what the defense can do. And so in that, I think a huge thing for Brian Dable and Mike Kafka, their head coach and then offensive coordinator, is like, you better make sure this young man knows where Derwin James is, because he's that piece where if you're in no huddle, you might be going so fast where, like, oh, he's at the line of scrimmage, and then he's all of a sudden this blitzer, and that 2nd and 8 run play that you had that looked good, it's dead. I've talked about screens more. They need to run more screens, and they need to get them to Malik. Watch this play by Derwin. First of all, he's lined up on the bottom of the screen. This is something one of the reasons why they're good on defense is they flip him, and he's kind of that chess piece wherever. He's got the screen back. He goes to the screen before the back goes to the screen. So if I'm the Giants, I'm not throwing a screen towards Derwin James. I will check out of it. I don't care if I can or can't. I would not have him blocked when he's a blitzer by a tight end. I would mandate that he has to be protected by at least, if you're going to be tight ends, 2 of them, or an offensive tackle. And then you just have to know where he is when it comes into your quarterback run game, which I would expect the Giants to use. And so this is a big challenge. I think the no huddle will help him. The only caveat is when you're going so fast, sometimes you lose sight of where these guys are. Look at where Derwin lines up. He's got to know where he is at all times.
That is such a great point because, as you know, especially for a guy in his first NFL game ever, things are going to look a certain way on the X's and O's. They're going to look a certain way on film, but you're not going to be able to account for those X-factor kind of players that are just going to do something completely off script that you had zero plan for. We played against Palomalu. There was one specific play, like in short yardage goal line. We planned for him all week. He came to the line of scrimmage and did a 360 like spin move in between 2 people backwards.
Were you supposed to block him?
And then, like, do you obsess over him, but then do you not pay attention to him, and then all you're thinking about is him?
Dude, and the first time when you're, like, new to the league, you feel like you just played against a superhero.
Your hair's on fire.
We could do the entire show on this. I get it. It's been very uninspiring with Russ. And I know I heard you say this on TV this morning as well, Dan. A little nervous about this being the first challenge for Jackson Dart.
You would have liked for it to be the next week against the Saints. The other thing about Jesse Minter's defenses, as LA's DC, the last 2 seasons, the Chargers have the best scoring defense in the mistakes, turnovers, not great. All right, let's turn our attention now to the Ravens and the Chiefs. A big showdown between 2-time MVPs, Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes. Their rivalry has been one-sided, though, with Mahomes winning 5 of their 6 meetings, including the playoffs, and Mahomes has outplayed Jackson in those games with more passing touchdowns and a QBR nearly 30 points higher than Lamar in those matchups. New on NFL Live, here's Patrick Mahomes speaking earlier today.
I know that you saw Monday night with the Ravens, but they're a prideful group, man. I don't think they're going to be very happy with the film, and they're going to come out with the mentality of stopping the run. So it'll be a great test for us. And so it'll be able to go up there and be able to run the football and then be able to pass off of it will be important to us, stay balanced, and go up against a team that's going to be as hungry as we are. So it'll be a great football game this weekend.
Yeah, it's not the start KC was hoping for, but Hawk, is there something in this Chiefs offense giving you hope for a turnaround this season?
I like what I've seen from Tyquan Thornton in this offense.
Yeah.
And they're trying to figure things out, right? But he provides an element that this offense is so desperately needed for the last probably 3 years, which is a legitimate deep threat. There was probably 3 different times in that last game that should have been big-time plays. And you've seen it spark throughout the season. But once they get on the same page, which they will, I love this version of it where they reverse the TD call, then the very next play they go back deep to him again. What that gives Patrick Mahomes is when Xavier Worthy comes back, he kind of probably assumes the Hollywood Brown role.
Yep.
And when Rashee Rice comes back, now you have your do-it-everything receiver. And now you have a receiving corps that truly gives you weapons and options down the field, intermediate and short, and they could still go score touchdowns in any way he decides. Again, the Chiefs have desperately needed that over the last couple of seasons.
I think they're a bad matchup for the Ravens defense, though. I do, because I think the Ravens defense is built to play coverage. They've got 5 first-round picks. Even though Jair maybe not fully healthy yet or playing up to his standard, they still believe that their coverage unit can go with anyone. So I just think the weakness of this defense is what the Chiefs aren't good at right now and aren't willing to do it. It's just run the football. Now, if you just watch their runs and take Patrick's runs out, the runs that have been successful is when, at least when they're in the gun, one back power, meaning down block, down block, down block, and you pull that backside guard. I think one of the things is not having their tight ends be a huge part of the run blocking has to be a part of it. So maybe it's a 6th offensive lineman. And then really the under center thing that's been good is what we call split flow, trying to get everybody to flow one way and you cut the backside of the defensive line. Them to win this game, I really think they're going to have to commit to and do well running the football in between the tackles. Those 2 runs would be the way that I would do it. And again, I would implore them. I would entertain bringing a 6th offensive lineman in at times just to maybe help with getting that run started. Because that's not Kelsey's game and that's not Noah Gray's game.
Yeah, maybe they can just watch the film from Monday night, because the Lions did exactly what they needed to do to really expose the vulnerability of this Ravens defense right now. With no Nnamdi Madubuike, they are incredibly thin up the middle. And I got to tell you, Monday night there was some concerning tape from a number of guys that you think of as game changers for the Baltimore defense. How about the Lions on Monday night? They had 207 rushing yards between the tackles in just that game alone. The Ravens have been bad between the numbers, both defending the run, but also in the middle of the field, defending the pass as well. Roquan Smith did not look like the player that we are accustomed to seeing him be on Monday night. If I am the Chiefs, and they don't have the personnel the Lions do, maybe along the offensive line in totality, maybe the running back room, but at least you got to give it a shot, because I just don't think the Chiefs' offensive formula of whatever that was on Sunday night, even in a victory,
I think it's a great opportunity for Kansas City. I really do. I think it's a great opportunity for them to say, we can do this.
Yeah. I wonder if we can.
Because if we do, gosh, then okay, we can get into a better place offensively.
Well, you don't know how long Nnamdi Madubuike is going to be out, but not playing in this game, maybe the next time they see him down the road, they will have him. So maybe it is the chance to do it while this Ravens
defense team to do it against,
dealing with some injuries too. All right, we're just getting started on NFL Live on this Wednesday. Glad you're with us. Jerry Jones says there's nothing personal between him and Micah Parsons, but did Micah get that memo? Hear what the All-Pro has to say ahead of Sunday's matchup. This coming in today. Plus, is no Mike Evans no problem for the Bucs? Well, one of us thinks they've already got a guy who can be like Mike. See what we did there?
I like that.
I get it.
Like Mike.
I get it.
I think you might be the person.
You write these?
Yeah. Well, no. We have people who write some of them, and then I'll tweak them sometimes.
I write a couple
depending
of them.
on. Dan is the person that the bad
keep
ones.
busy during.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive.
Friday and Saturday on ESPN.
Aztel is about to exit.
Don't die! Don't get killed!
FX is The Lowdown. All new Tuesdays on FX. Stream on Hulu.
This coming Monday, we got 2 Monday Night Football matchups. The Jets and Dolphins scoring off at a special start time at 7 Eastern on ESPN and ESPN Deportes. And Bengals-Broncos coverage begins at 8 Eastern on ABC. They're also available on the all-new ESPN app, so you can watch both. That begins, of course, at 8 if you're watching both. All right, new on NFL Live. Here's Commanders quarterback Jaden Daniels speaking to the media moments ago.
I mean, he's Terry. He does what he does. He makes big plays, but, you know, we kind of was dealing with that throughout training camp, so we very much have the next man up mentality. We're confident other people make plays.
All right, so Hawk and already hobbled Jaden, now potentially no Terry. How troubling might that be for the Commanders against Atlanta?
It's going to be very troubling, but specifically for Cliff Kingsbury, who was putting together a hell of a campaign for it to be the first call made to anybody who had the head coaching vacancy, because he was able to put up 41 points without Jaden Daniels. Now you take away Terry McLaurin. If he can still show that this offense is as good as it's been, everybody should be on his phone.
Oh, I love it. All right, the sound keeps rolling in on this Wednesday. Here's Jags quarterback Trevor Lawrence addressing the media this afternoon.
You're not always going to play your best as an offense, but it's how do you respond and find a way this week against another good opponent to go out there and play better offensively and just be more consistent, better on third down. Obviously the penalties, you know, throwing, catching, passing game, you know, we gotta clean up, we gotta be sharper. I didn't make the corrections in the running game and, you know, move on, but I think that's the key, is just getting better every week.
Then the Jags squeezed out a win this weekend against Houston, but the offense still looks shaky. What's going on in Jacksonville?
One, they got to catch the football. They lead the NFL in drops right now. Unacceptable with a unit like that. Trevor's talking about throwing, catching. You know, that's a big problem right now, and these aren't difficult catches that should be getting made. I think the second thing, and you heard Trevor talk about it, is cleaning it up. There's got to be more details in their pass game. I saw one thing, you saw another thing. I converted this route versus coverage. You didn't. I threw this route and you ran this route. So it's got to get better in the details. But their starting point, they got to catch the football better down in Jacksonville for their quarterback.
All right, Rookie Watch, well underway now, 3 weeks through in the season. Field, who caught your eye this weekend specifically?
Yeah, 3 guys that weren't playing like rookies, at least this past weekend, Laura. Let's start in Cleveland, who got a gigantic upset win over the Green Bay Packers. One of the reasons why is their second-round pick, one of them, Carson Schlesinger, was flying around. He had 10 total tackles. He had a sack. We actually gave him 9 tackles, 7 solos. This guy has incredible range. We really saw it on display. Look at the speed right there to close and totally annihilate Jordan Love, making plays at the goal line here as well. The Browns rookie class showing some very strong early returns. The Jets are getting some excellent production out of their top pick, Armand Membu, a guy who just completely rose during the pre-draft process. The guy was incredible during his final season in Missouri, and right now he's got a 95.8% pass block win rate, not just the best on the Jets, but the 8th best in all of the NFL. Certainly not a player. It looks like he is facing off against NFL competition every week. He looks like he's back at the SEC at Mizzou, where he was a dominant player as well. And I have bad news for the rest of the NFL. I fear that Lions GM Brad Holmes has done it once again. Tate Ratledge, second-round pick out of Georgia, definitely has the best mullet in the entire NFL. This guy was carving up Ravens defensive linemen on Monday night, just creating room for David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. We talked earlier in the show about that huge rushing performance. Ratledge was such a good athlete in college, so tough, so reliable. One of those players who probably got a bit overthought during the process, ready-made to be a starter. He has already become one, and a very important one for that Lions offensive attack.
It was fun, Phil, being on the sideline watching him and watching him in the mullet, because they had that really long drive over 9 minutes, 98.5 yards. He came off the field, and he was like shaking sweat out of his mullet. He was talking about how he needed oxygen, and he was like, that's one of the longest drives I've ever had in my life, but he loved it. He was embracing all of it. He's incredible.
He feels tailor-made for exactly what the Detroit Lions do.
All right, so we had a little fun here. Who wore it best when it comes to mullets? I'm going to actually just vote Tate Ratledge right now, because we all look like
I think that might have been me like 2 weeks ago, by the way. Is that the superimposed, or is this just the old haircut I had?
Which I'm not sure what that says about me. That says I already have.
Right? It's Justin Jefferson. It's Jamar Chase.
Andrew Hawkins.
No question. But there's guys that you can sit there and go, he's the physically most dominant receiver in the NFL.
Yeah.
And that's a smaller group.
Yeah.
A.J. Brown from the Eagles is one of those guys that's at the very top of the list of most physically dominant. He was one of the main reasons why they make that massive comeback.
Absolutely. And you know, there's so much talk about the impact he can have on the game, and he finally did it in week 3. So we're going to jump in the film room for our improve it, remove it, lube it. One to get better at, one to get out of your game, and the last one do we hang in the museum. because it's a work of art. Here you're going to see A.J. Brown on the outside. Now, he's not going to be the target here, but here's what you want to remove is that you understand there's an out route from the slot. You got an outside release on this defensive back because with eyes inside, it's a potential for a blow-up. So that's one that we're going to get better at. Here's one that we're going to completely remove. A.J. Brown's going to motion out. He's going to motion back into the slot, and now he's going to have a very similar out route that we just saw Devontae Smith run. But at this time, you see him stop out of the break. But you got to understand, because you're so physically gifted, like you talked about, Dan, you are always live. That if Jalen gets into trouble, he still may come to you. You got to continue on that route because that was almost a big-time interception. And lastly,
all right, let's go to the Louvre. I think this is the play of the game. AJ's up top.
Yes.
I think this is like 2nd and 18. They don't have anything going on offensively in the second half, and he's got the slug. I want everyone to see it just so they get one picture at it, and then we're going to walk it back to tell us and teach us why. This is a Louvre. Also, great throw by Jalen Hurts. Okay, what do we got?
All right, so it's a dime, as you said. This is a sluggo here, and this is the improve-it route that we had for George Pickens a week ago.
Correct.
So what you're going to do here is a double move. You're going to sell the slant. And how do you sell the slant? You have to give everything that you have to convince that defensive back I'm running a slant route. So I'm coming off the ball as hard as I can, 1, 2, 3, and on my third step, I'm going to plant as hard as I can to sell it. But more importantly, I'm going to bring my head and eyes. Now, what do you mean by bring your head and eyes? That DB is looking for indicators that this is a short route. And if you don't look to that route as if you're going back to the quarterback, he's not going to buy it. AJ does an incredible job.
So you mean to tell me he goes 1, 2, 3, quarterback's over my left shoulder, the camera at home, and he runs it like this?
I'm never buying it.
You're not buying it.
Because nothing about your demeanor actually proves that it's the first route.
1, 2, 3, you want my eyes to go back to the quarterback that sells that ball is expecting to get thrown.
As soon as I see you look, I'm looking.
Okay.
And that's what the DB does. You see immediately he jumps to the slant, and A.J. Brown does a great job of when he feels the DB jump at it, he has a perfect exit strategy to get wide enough, slap hands down, but this is the best part.
Yeah.
He digs out of the break. So often, young receivers in the league and in football in general, they'll run that double move, and as soon as they do the first move, they're looking back, which makes you slower, which breaks the timing, and also makes it a smaller window for the quarterback. To your point, this is a perfect ball, but it's perfect because A.J. Brown understands that out of his first break, he has to dig to create the separation down the field.
Okay, so I love the point, dig out of the break. The question I have is, when does he know to get his eyes back? Since he's head down right now, trying to vertically get down the field, when does he know to peak?
He wants to peak whenever he feels like he's at full speed and he has enough separation that the DB can't break between when he gets there and when the ball drops.
So that's about like those reps, right? That's about knowing, hey, Jalen, Sluggo, once I get on top of him, you got to give me a second to beat him. Once I beat him, that's when you expect me to peak?
So essentially you're coming to almost a stop after that first move. So you're speeding up, you're stopping, and then you're speeding up again. So you can't look until you're at full speed, because when I'm at full speed, I'm hard to catch. The last thing that he does great, go back to this catch. So he does the first move, he digs, 1, 2, 3, hands down, I'm in separation mode. Look how late he puts his hands out there. Because now I know the DB's in a position where he's only going to react to when I reach. So if I reach too early, it slows me down and it allows me to tell the DB the ball is coming. He waits to the very last second, and when he shows it, it's too late for the DB to get there enough to stop the catch.
We've all heard defensive back coaches and defensive coordinators say, just wait till you see the hands. Once you see the hands, get them inside, get your hand inside, break it up. Good stuff, man. We're going to say, move it.
That's it.
We just leave that segment strictly for that picture every week.
I mean, it's the best picture. And now we hang it. We hang it in this museum.
All right.
Look,
And it's
add it
East.
to it. Come on, hang it up. Where's it at? Are we here? There he is.
Beautiful.
There it is. Look at this museum.
This is Hawk's beautiful gallery. I love it.
Welcome, AJ.
By the way, that's incredible, you guys. Something people can actually look for in a game. The hands out. I love it. All right, let's bring Adam Schefter back in here for some top stories. Adam, we're going to stick with this Eagles-Bucks matchup. What's going on with Nolan Smith?
Laura, he strained his triceps on Sunday against the Rams. It's a similar injury to the one that he had in the Super Bowl, where he underwent surgery on his triceps 3 days after the Super Bowl. He aggravated it Sunday. They put him on injured reserve. He's going to miss the next 5 games, but then should be able to rejoin the Eagles in time for a Monday night, November 10th matchup against the Packers in Green Bay, where I'm sure you'll also be that night. Meanwhile, the Buccaneers wide receiver Mike Evans not expected to play Sunday against the Eagles, but Chris Godwin looks like he's tracking to return, as is offensive tackle Tristan Wirfs. Both players back at practice, at least in a limited capacity today, and they have targeted this game on Sunday to get back to all along. But a lot of no practices across the league today for various wide receivers. Take a look at the list of wide receivers who didn't practice today, including both in San Francisco. Now, Tedaro McMillan said this afternoon that even though he didn't practice today, he does expect to play. Terry McLaurin's getting more information. Malik Neighbors usually misses practice time, but is almost always ready to go on Sunday. And there was one other notable practice report from today. Cam Ward, the #1 overall pick for the Titans, was limited in practice due to an ankle and calf injury. Limited. Can't imagine that somebody as tough as Cam Ward wouldn't play Sunday at Houston against the Texans, but it is worth monitoring as the week goes on.
Golly, a bunch of info there. Thanks to Adam for all the latest. Of course, as always, Adam, a lot of things, too, for fantasy owners there. All right, new on NFL Live. Here's Aaron Rodgers ahead of his matchup with the Vikings in Dublin.
I can play better, for sure. It's just about sometimes you just have to take what the defense gives you and be comfortable with that. Some of our best plays is just getting the ball into our playmakers' hands and letting them go. So I just need to be disciplined like I usually am and get the ball to the guys.
Aaron, I know this is a business trip, but what are you looking forward to about going over to Ireland?
Guinness. Guinness on tap is my favorite beer in the world. And I don't really drink beer.
You had said a team that drinks together, wins together.
Yeah.
Have you tried to incorporate that more?
I'm not going to tell you that.
I'm not sure how to take that. I also like how he's like, that's my favorite beer, but I don't really drink beer. Either way, Field, what are your expectations for the Steelers offense as they take on the Vikings in Ireland?
Tell you what, Laura, I'm a little bit nervous. This Steelers offense over the last 2 weeks especially has looked stale to me. I don't know where the explosive plays have gone in this offense. Remember in week 1, Aaron Rodgers had 4 passing touchdowns and kind of carved up that Jets defense in a come from behind crazy game. The past 2 weeks, really they were lucky to win this past Saturday. They won the turnover battle 5-1 and only beat the Patriots by 7 points. DK Metcalf is one of the best vertical threats in the entire NFL. Over the past 2 weeks, we have not seen much of it. As a matter of fact, the most explosive play through the air over the past 2 weeks was a screen pass to running back Jalen Warren that he just zigzagged for 64 yards. Right. This team's offense feels a little too complacent for me right now when the defense is not yet playing championship caliber football.
Yeah, especially if you're going up against a Brian Flores defense.
Good luck, yeah.
Adam, you got something else. Go ahead.
One other thing, Laura, as I'm watching the report about the Steelers from both you and Field, it has dawned on me that both of you look like you've been cast out of The Untouchables. So I think you get the part right there. The Untouchables, very good, very strong, excellent outfit coordination from the two of you today.
You know what? We planned this.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. We
Our
totally
2-year-olds each picked our outfits this morning.
Exactly, which is really scary if you think about it.
Thank you.
Okay, coming up. Get your popcorn
You guys are always untouchable. You guys are always untouchable, but especially in those outfits.
So the week, let's go, boys. We're going to start with Andy Reid talking about his heated exchange with Travis Kelce.
He knows. He knows when to back off the pedal and knows when to push it too. So that's the part I love about him. I mean, the guy's all in. Just sometimes I have to be the policeman.
Was there a specific play that was bothering you, or was it more trying to get something out of him? Or?
No, he was all in. He was all in. Listen, he's an emotional guy. He's Irish.
I think what he was trying to say, Laura, is like he probably shouldn't have done that and should have done it on the sidelines in public like that. Yeah. But I've been coaching in the NFL for a long time, 25 years as a head coach, and I know enough to downplay it in front of the media so we can try to find a way to squash it, sooner rather than later.
You know what? Squish it, squash it.
Squish it, squash it.
I like that he
Lost in translation.
I love all of it, dude. I loved every part of it, man.
We've also had a heavy Irish presence in this show.
Yeah, pumping the Ireland game.
Very
smart.
Yeah. Oh, yes, exactly. Cross promotion.
Yeah, of course I'm Irish.
All right. Dan, come on. Tampa, where Todd Bowles gave us some insight on his player-coach relationship with Payne Durham.
Me and Payne have a relationship not many people know about, and we're secret lovers.
What?
You take that one.
Don't know where to go. Definitely an HR violation. I'm almost positive he's engaged too, so that's off.
Yeah, it's not secret anymore.
Yeah, and the whole secret. Maybe he doesn't know the definition of secret.
Yeah, I'm going to be quiet.
I
I'd already seen that one a couple times, so I couldn't help myself.
No idea.
Like, I'm just speechless after that. I don't know what's and you know what I love though is Todd Bowles is normally like a very he doesn't say much kind of guy.
Yes,
and he got himself tickled by that.
Yeah, that's what happens when you win. You just start doing things that it's like everyone's loosey-goosey after W's.
Laura's
man.
sitting here, and she goes, he got himself tickled like that. I feel like I'm listening to Buck and Aikman again from Monday night.
Oh, yeah, they got the Henrietta thing. It's so good. All right, how about those Bucks?
Man.
They're hosting the Eagles on Sunday. The Bucks have had some wild finishes, by the way, to get to 3-0. This week, an excellent litmus test for both teams early in the season. The Bucks, of course, will be without Mike Evans, but you heard Adam's report. Maybe Chris Godwin, Tristan Wirfs could come back. Here's Bucks quarterback Baker Mayfield and what he's focused on heading into this week's matchup.
Starting fast, executing is cliche as it is, doing all the little things right. It's a team that lines up and they do what they do and they do it really well. So we have to do the same thing, match that energy. And I mean, it's between their O-line and their D-line. Obviously, this game's going to be won in the trenches.
I mentioned how they've kind of been the cardiac kids. The Bucks have scored game-winning touch points in the final minute in all 3 wins this season. But it's nothing new for Mayfield. He's been stepping up big time late in games for forever. Since joining the Bucks in 2023, Mayfield leads all quarterbacks in the league with 22 touchdown passes in the fourth quarter or overtime. That's crazy. He's gained the most first downs on scrambles of any QB in the final 15 minutes of overtime. It's funny, like you think about those moments. He starts running and everyone's like, we didn't expect him to run. All right, Field, the Bucks keep finding ways to win. Injuries, though, are creeping up on them in some ways. Can they hold up against the Eagles defense?
Listen, I'm nervous. I give them so much credit for finding ways to win in the final minute of these games. But at some point, like the clock does strike midnight, and it's kind of a perfect storm for them right now against this Eagles team who, even without Nolan Smith, is going to want to at least try to make Baker Mayfield uncomfortable. And while they have been without multiple starters along the offensive line for 3 games now, it hasn't gotten a whole lot better. They're currently 30th in pass block win rate right now. That was a real strength of this team last season, as they were all the way up at 5th overall. The Falcons got to them early in their season opener. We have seen Baker Mayfield play from under duress. He's cool as a cucumber. I get all that, but Philly, I think, is a different challenge. And part of what I love about Philadelphia, as we saw last week, they're a chameleon team, right? They can beat you by pounding the rock with Saquon Barkley in week 1 against the Dallas Cowboys. And when they find themselves down 18 points against the Los Angeles Rams, they don't blink. A.J. Brown becomes the best player on the field, and they mount this incredible comeback.
I want to ask you a question. Ibuka, he's been unbelievable this year.
Absolutely.
Is it real to say, man, when that number 1 receiver goes down and that number 2 guy has to become the number 1, it's a different world? Is that a real thing? And then do you think he's capable of becoming that or entering into that?
I do think it's a real thing for most.
Because obviously no Mike Evans, right?
Of course. I mean, and Mike Evans is one of, if not the most consistent receiver we've seen over the decade he's been in the NFL. But when you look at Ibuka, Hartline from Ohio State, who's our offensive coordinator, yes, he's one of the best receiver recruiters in the country, the best, actually.
Yeah.
But you can see his fingerprints on the players once they get to the next level. Because Ibuka's game, he plays like a veteran. And when you look at your number 2, there's just certain things that you're going to get where it's like, man, I can't depend on this in a full-on, you're going against the best corner play in and play out. I don't see that from Ibuka. So when you see even last week, this is him going against Sauce Gardner, one of the best corners in the game, where he's able to hold the line and one hand on the sideline. Next, 11-yard play, but look how he fills the zone, steps into the zone, and slides into a hole where Baker Mayfield can find him. And lastly, this is called an incompletion, but it shouldn't have been. And this is one of the best catches of that game and one of the biggest moments. And he got both feet down, and he did catch that football. So when you look at Ibuka, you got to look at all the situations he's been in. And when you say, okay, can he step up into that number 1 spot? Every time Mike Evans comes out of the lineup for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the deep ball is what suffers. With Ibuka in there as a number 1, that will not be the case.
Really fascinating. It was interesting. I did the Bucs game on Monday Night Football earlier this season. He was an outfielder as a baseball player, a high-level baseball player, had a chance to go pro. He said he never feels like he can't see a ball because he was so used to tracking it. He has never had a single time in his career where he didn't feel like he could track the ball.
The big thing with Ibuka, and when you look at the 1 or 2, to your point, when they have to step up, there's certain situations where you have the number 1 and you know the other person is a number 2. When you watch Ibuka and Mike Evans play, it feels like Mike Evans is the number 1. Ibuka is the #1 in training, very similar to Roy Williams and Calvin Johnson back in the day when they were there.
Wow. I think it'd be interesting to see just how they move him around.
He's banged up too. He played only 57% of the snaps last week, so he, like many Bucks, Emeka Ibuka's working through it right now.
I love it. All right, we got a lot more coming here, and we're going to get to the real meat and potatoes if we haven't already been there. Micah Parsons is taking mistakes, turnovers, not great. Fill us in on that.
We'll start with Zach Tom there, right tackle, who got paid this summer $88 million. Their best offensive lineman. Looks like he will not play this week due to the oblique injury that he aggravated last week at Cleveland against the Browns. Keep in mind that the Packers have a bye after this game against the Cowboys. So if they rest Tom on Sunday night, he have 2 weeks to get rested before they could reassess. As for the Cowboys, nickelback, cornerback, defensive back DeRon Bland, he's not played due to a foot injury, but he returned to practice today after missing the last 2 games, and he now is on track to play Sunday night against the Green Bay Packers in a game in which the Cowboys obviously will need all the defensive help that they can get. Looks like they'll get a little bit of help there from DeRon Bland. That should be a little bit of a boost to Dallas's defense.
Yeah, all hands on deck, certainly, as Micah Parsons is playing his former team this week. He's already talked about, Adam, what it may be like sacking Dak Prescott. There's so many different ways to look at this one. But let's hear from Micah himself. He spoke about this today, this coming in just a little while ago.
I just feel like it's just going to be another game for me. Obviously got a lot of ties there, but, I think the atmosphere is going to be great. I kind of know what a Packer-Green Bay game looks like, and I know the fan base is going to be pretty rowdy. Once the game starts, who's going to be worried about any trade? Like, it's just me against them 5 men in front of me, you know what I mean? And then we got one common goal, and that's to win the football game. The fans, the media is going to get off on the pre-draft, the hype, and all that, but once the game's, ain't no one talking about the trade. We talking about winning a football game.
I mean, that's like a very reasonable way to talk about it. You got to believe there's something extra on both sides, right? Dan, do the Cowboys have a chance against their former star pass rusher?
No, I think this is going to get ugly as a football game. This Packers pass rush is everything that we thought the Giants was going to be this offseason, guys. You're dead if you get into passing situations, and it's not only because of Micah. It's almost super team. Remember, the Warriors or the Celtics from a couple years ago? What they've done is they've weaponized Micah and Rashawn Gary and Van Ness. He's off the ball here. So naturally you're paying attention to him, right? 5 guys across the line of scrimmage. They're just trying to create those one-on-ones. Everybody gets a one-on-one. They only need one guy to win. That's Rashawn Gary. And then you trigger your backer, like Cooper. So now I have, once again, 5 one-on-ones. Micah win, Rashawn Gary win, Lucas Van Ness win. One of those 3 guys will, on almost every pass, obvious situation play, get a pass rush. This time, all 5 of them, right? So as a quarterback on his line, my gosh, here comes man coverage again. 5 guys across. Nope. They'll double drop out, spin coverage, and instead of playing man with a 5-man rush, they're just playing cover 2 with the 4-man rush. And you're just, as a quarterback, sped up. Micah Parsons leads the NFL in pressures with 14. Rashawn Gary's second with 9. Lucas Van Ness is at 7. And then Rashawn Gary leads the NFL with sacks with 4.5. This defensive line is the most difficult defensive line to play against in passing situations.
Yeah, the defensive coordinator, Jeff Hafley, probably felt like he was playing with a muzzle last year. Now he just feels completely unleashed, right? The guy has all the pieces in place to run the scheme that he wants to do. Unfortunately for the Cowboys, I'm not sure they have many answers on the other side of the ball to neutralize the Packers, as the Cowboys have allowed just 13 completions of 25-plus yards already so far this season. So in some ways, Micah Parsons, in many ways.
Only almost 5 a game.
The story, they're fine, right? No big deal. Listen, the story of the night is going to be Micah Parsons, and it might be the story that dominates 95% of the coverage. But the other 5% should be reserved for what Jordan Love could do to this Cowboys offense. This Cowboys defense on Sunday night. The Cowboys have had 0 answers for anything the first 3 games. It hasn't just been the coverage issues in the back end. They generate 0 pressure. They have no alpha in their front 7 right now. This could get ugly, and this is Jerry Jones might not be that bothered by it because it's good attention for the team. But if I'm a Cowboys fan, I'm definitely fearful of what Sunday night could look like.
Matthew Golden, this is alert on a breakout game from him. He hasn't had a bunch of targets, but he's top in the league in separation score. And if you watch the Commanders game, he had 2 big opportunities for touchdowns that Jordan Love missed him on. And then even last week, Jordan Love hits him on a deep one, but his momentum takes him out of bounds, and I felt like he could have tight-roped, but that should have been a 70-yard-plus touchdown. Once they get on the same page, it's going to open up this Packers offense even more than what we're seeing now. No Watson, no Reed.
Yeah.
They get a first-rounder for the first time. He's going to have to start to, come forward with some of this production.
Yeah, I think they miss Jaden Reed. I do. I think he's such a touch guy. This is the ball down the sideline, right?
95-yard touchdown.
Yeah.
It's like you thought they were trying to kill the clock or something.
Yeah, it was bizarre.
Yeah.
But he's a rookie. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, I think he's massive because of the Reed injury. Not only obviously being a first-round pick, Reed just brought so much to their offense touches-wise. I think Golden needs to really start to shine.
I don't want to make too much out of this, but just knowing that the Packers are coming off being upset by the Browns too, that's probably the worst possible thing that could happen for the Cowboys.
Every coach will tell you they'd much rather play a team coming off of a win than a team coming off of a loss. Because if you're a good team,
the Packers got whooped by their offensive line, got physically embarrassed. Really good defense line of Cleveland, but
is that more about just Cleveland's D line and less
just
about
Cleveland's D line? Everybody is going to get whooped by Cleveland. Yeah, Cleveland's defense. That Graham guy, the fifth, he's unreal.
Denzel Ward was
Boy, they had
on
a
another level as well.
Somehow we ended up talking about the Browns to end the show.
Let's go. If we could just get a quarterback, Cleveland.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Welcome to SportsCenter.